Hello there. Welcome to Avant's webinar on child safeguarding and protection. This is the first session. We're going to be holding a series of webinars having different speakers from the education sector or related sectors to talk about child safeguarding and protection. Thank you for making time for this. And yeah, let's jump in. My name is Karan Chettiar. I am the co-founder and managing director of Avance. We are a company headquartered out of Singapore, but with presence in various parts of the globe, including the US, Europe, and multiple locations in Asia as well. I've spoken about child safeguarding and protection in various conferences and how to mitigate risk with respect to hiring in various conferences as well. I've spoken about this, the importance of making sure we hire the right people and importance of knowing who you hire in various platforms like the news programs, conferences in many parts of the world, as well as the mainstream newspapers as well. And Avance as a company, we have got awards for, in fact, the recent one was a gold award for the best background screening provider as well. As a company, we conduct background checks on individuals, use AI to vet resumes in minutes, use onboarding technologies to integrate people into the company really quickly, and again, leveraging technologies for training and development. So this webinar is going to be purely focused on child safeguarding protection. I'm going to talk about some of the experiences we've had. How are we helping about 300 over education institutions around the world mitigate risk when it comes to hiring as well. We've actually seen more than 3 to 4 profiles, or rather more than 3 to 4 resumes out of every 10 resumes having some kind of integrity or security issues. So the consequences of a wrongful hire can be quite detrimental to your education institution's reputation. It could be even financial security damages as well. I think you probably know of a lot of cases within the education industry, whether it's international schools or local schools, or rather it could be even vendors or contractors serving the schools as well. So this is and some of these high-profile cases have been reported in various media as well. And it's not just in the education industry; it's across all industries now, because faking has become sophisticated and easy. So which is why it's so important to up our game in screening for the right individuals, as you do not want a wrongful hire, right? Which is why you need to be able to verify the identity, the credibility of the experience, really knowing who they are and are they really what they claim to be in their resumes. More importantly, the compliance obligations as well, the risk tolerance of companies vary, but it's important to make sure that your child safeguarding and protection is kept to the highest standards. We can definitely share this white paper with you, which talks about the importance of background checking across the various roles, whoever has got an direct or indirect contact with a child in the school. And based on the experiences of background screening for various schools over the past 4 years around the globe, obviously for management or somebody with P&L accountability, would have a lot more checks. Academic, it could be all these recommended checks. Non-academic, they still have contact with the child. And you can see a whole suite of checks. And vendors, contractors coming in, typically the cost is pushed out to them. And they do need to have a background check pass or an evidence that they have been vetted by Avance before they're let into your premises as well. So we have structured processes and workflows for all these, as we are working with so many large educational school groups as well, and we'll be glad to share that experience with you, right, one-on-one. But in this quick webinar, I'm going to just talk through some of the checks and why these checks particularly important. So for example, criminal check. A lot of the schools, they try to cover the checks based on the countries where the individual has lived or studied or worked in since 18 years of age, or it could be even at least the last 10 years, right? So you want to know what kind of criminal offenses they've committed. any civil cases against them, right? And then in terms of global sanction is quite an important check because it does tell you Interpol checks, money laundering, sex offenses, political exposure, adverse media. Well, if somebody like myself who's always in the media, you're probably going to catch some data points if I've said something wrong in the media. But for the school, for the education industry, I'll rather recommend social media screening, which is an amazing data point for you. We use machine language to get through the entire social media presence plus the Google to check for derogatory indicators relating to sexual radicalism, porno stuff, um, racism, religious anti-religion comments, whatever the person could have liked, commented, shared, or posted, or even allow himself or herself to be tagged in. All those data points actually can come up in this social media check. Sex offenses for selected countries like US, of course. And then ID is something, if your HR can do it, that's great. Otherwise, we can help. The finance and conflicting directorship checks is mainly for the management folks, right? So these are all pretty important checks. And then and these checks can be done quite quickly. And then you also have the employment checks, whether the individual performed to the mark in the previous schools. Performance, education is super important because of the qualifications necessary. And we see a lot of problems in these areas. In fact, I think the three biggest issues we have seen is social media, because all parents are going to check out whoever's in contact with their child, starting from the bus driver who picks up the kid all the way to the school, to the CCA or the extracurricular activity administrators or the football coaches, could be food caterers, whoever, right? So it's important that social media profiles are clean. And then, of course, education certificates is another problem. And of course, undeclared criminal offenses is a major problem. Again, we have seen different data points by different countries and nationalities. Whether the educator comes from UK or or any part of the Europe or Australia or the US or Canada, we have enough data points to share with you if you'd like to know more about well, what are the typical things to look out for when you hire people from certain parts of the world. And of course, if you have the capability to do the checks yourself, you can do that. But important thing is it's a complex project, and most schools do not have a huge HR team. The other important thing is everything has to be done with a consent letter signed by the person who's being checked on. And the regulatory requirements of each country is different. Like in Asia, there are different data privacy policies. In US, there's a FCRA, Fair Consumer Credit Reporting, and then you have in the Europe you have the GDPR. So the consent letters, in terms of language, in terms of regulatory requirements, have to be phrased differently. The way checks are done differ country to country, even within a country like the US, within state to state, county to county, it varies. So it's a lot of complexities. And so there's a lot of possible liabilities as well, which we assume. So Avans will take in those liabilities. We indemnify you and your candidate against any kind of confidentiality breach or breach of service. And we can show it to you that the returns on investments are a lot more than 100% because losses due to wrongful hires is high. And a Gallup study shows that background check people tend to stay with your company or with your school for a longer period of time as well. So attrition related costs are also being managed. So we have detailed calculators to show you the ROI, and the cost is really minimal if you think about it in the bigger scheme of things. And whoever you work with, it's important for you to know how the platform works, how is the user experience from the perspective of a head of HR or head of school, and the candidate's experience, right? And how easy it is to order cases, how easy it is to manage, real-time report monitoring, the cost, of course, very important. How can we do complex cases? Again, we cover 150 plus countries, so your candidates could be pretty much any part of the globe, from any part of the globe, and we can cover. It's also important for you to know how we manage the data. So our platform sits on AWS, Amazon Web Services, which is ISMS 27001 compliant. And the way our operation center of excellence has got highest level of physical admin security, and how we manage the data in compliance to your Data Privacy Acts, all that is important. So all this is very important, especially when it comes to child safeguarding from the process standpoint. And before I show the platform where you can easily manage this, We've actually had other disturbing findings as well in the upcoming series sessions. I will have people involved in child safeguarding talk about it, and you'll hear from them firsthand. What are some of the disturbing findings we have discovered, and people who should not be even with the child for more than a minute have been given opportunities to abuse the children and the vulnerable. Well, we can't do a great deal to the already abused, but definitely we can do something to prevent this. We just do not want more abuses. And I just want to highlight very quickly on social media checks, because this is one data point which is super important. I talked about it earlier, but these are the kinds of things we look out for. And 14% of the social media profiles have issues. So like I said, overall reports about 35 to 40%, but social media checks alone, the hit rate is pretty high. And it's just unprofessional comments, images. Again, I've seen the worst, and things which I can't even share in a webinar like this. But when you do these checks, you will actually understand the importance of social media check, because every other check is a past, done, committed. But social media, there's only one you can control now, because it's an ongoing behavior. So a lot of the schools do this every 6 months, or a minimum at least every 12 months, to make sure that they have clean profiles, right? So now I'd like to show you the platform very quickly on how these checks can be done. So this is the Avance platform, which you probably saw at the beginning of the webinar. And you can actually place an order right here. Once you get in, let's say your school has multiple campuses, you can select the multiple campuses as well. We can contextualize, or rather we can build packages for you, like a management package, educator, non-educator, vendor, contractor, and so on. And even if we have contractors, we have contractor screening programs, which we can clearly explain how we'll manage that for you as a project. It's pretty straightforward. We've done this so many times for so many schools, so we can have a cookie cutter model for you. And then once you put in these candidates details, this platform, which has won a gold award for the best background screening vendor, is really because of the kind of information you get offhand. So you do not even need to check with us. How do you do a criminal check in Venezuela, for example, or in Hong Kong, for example? So all the information are there. So let's say in the last 10 years, the individual has lived in Turkey, and then has also lived in UK, right? So it explains to you how the check is done straight away, and what's the turnaround time, what's the pricing like, what are the options you've got under UK check, UK, US, Netherlands. All these can be pretty complex checks, but we can do all that. So again, like I said, 150 plus countries. So once you have selected all the checks that you need to, and it's typically ordering should not take more than 45 seconds per order, and then you can select the option of candidate filling the data instead of you doing it for the candidate. And of course, you have self-screening evaluators who can come in and check themselves as well. Then the card will go to the candidate form for them to fill up all the data, upload all the documents at one go. And once they're filled up, it will come back to you for a final view to make sure that these are the checks you want. And then once you're happy with it, you can check it out. It becomes an order, and it becomes a real-time order. You do not even need to wait for the full 15 days. Some of the checks get completed earlier, and you can start monitoring these checks real time. So that's how it's done. So, and all the documents uploaded by the candidate, all the documents uploaded by the verifier, all can be seen in this report itself. So it's pretty DIY, very easy. But of course, when you're ready to move on, we will do a detailed onboarding for you and for all your HR or whoever who needs to be involved in ordering the background checks. There's a little video for the candidates to use as well to be able to fill up details. But it's really easy form. There's a chatbot for you to help. There's a video guide, user guide, plenty of help. So it's most of the burden is taken away by us. So you can be pretty assured that you can have a peace of mind in letting Avance take care of the background screening. You also have dashboards to have a quick view on what are the cases, what's the progress. You can download Excel tracker reports if you want to submit it to your board, what's happening and all that as well. So it's a very user-friendly platform, and let us know how we can help you with this. But more importantly, it's all in the aim of protecting the child. As a father of two myself, I obviously want to have a peace of mind that my children are in the care of people who have been background checked or background vetted completely. In the upcoming sessions, we will hear from representatives from school who talk about how they actually use background screening or other methods, other methodologies, to actually up the game. They'll also talk about policy setting. How do you? There's a lot of things in child protection safeguarding. So I do not want to steal the thunder. I'll let them talk through, and you'll be invited for all these sessions. Do let us know if you want to be involved in these. If you want to join us in some of these webinars to actually contribute your insights and experiences, more than welcome as well. This is how you reach us. This is where you can like us and share to your network as well. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye-bye.